to have a topic. Not going to talk about it. I might not talk about anything. Maybe I could talk a little bit about it. Maybe. Or we could talk about me touching my face. People seem to like that. So, entrainment. With entrainment, and I know this is a touchy subject. I know it is. And I would like to say on the get-go, or at the beginning, that the solution to entrainment is just doing nothing. It's being still, it's being silent. There's a place within each of us that doesn't move. So, if entrainment has happened with you on whatever levels, because there's different levels, little feelers are here and there everywhere. And then when you get in, you get in. But releasing yourself back into that inner Zen spot, you know? Or even thinking love thoughts, like think about someone you love. Focus on them. The Jesus' message is true also with respect to entrainment. Even though it doesn't say that specifically in the Bible. Maybe the thing is mentioned in there, but being kind or seeing the other as yourself, essentially, will not allow the entrainment to be as vicious as it can be, because it can be very vicious. And again, remembering that your body-mind experience is composed of many pieces. Many pieces are flying around you on the outside and inside of your mind, via, even if you're just having word thoughts, via those, and simply inside your being there are pieces moving around. There are energies interacting. There's stuff always going everywhere. And for a lot of us, for a lot of you, you're not aware of all these energies. You're not aware of most of these energies. Maybe you're aware of none of these energies. When your inner body awareness has been reduced a lot, then entrainment becomes a lot easier because it's a mental thing, mainly. Depending on how strong you are to resist it, if you're not strong, then it will entrain everything. It will entrain everything that's happening around you, all the conversations, whatever your self is doing, whether you're running screaming in fear down the road or inside of a car or having a conversation with friends or talking to the bird or doing whatever. If you have not yet been made privy to this, what this is, then it will catch you. And I also want to say that I know there are some topics that people are like, oh, we can't say this because it's too much. And there are some aspects of that that's correct, where depending on the general state of the population, it's good not to go shouting certain topics or ideas from the rooftops, because it will cause a little too much of a stir. But it's also important not to back off completely from discussing something just because you think, oh man, this is just going to result in anarchy, chaos. Because that process is involving in yourself a looking at what's your biggest fear. And whatever is your biggest fear, sometimes you have to go through it. And then again, when we're having sort of awakenings or more knowledge is coming in, or we're feeling more connected to what love actually is, and is healing the inside of your body, you feel these emotions going on again. Stopping for a green light. And I got the honk. My life is beautiful. He stopped for the green light and the guy behind me gave me the honk. Oh. So when you're considering this, that's a nimble one. Maybe not, you know. Considering this, and you come back to some state of sanity. Like, what was that? Wow. Okay. You will still continue to defibrillate it, or you will still continue to integrate somehow within yourself what that was, and then you yourself will make it bigger and more scary, or like if you just like things being grand and beautiful and just so amazingly put together, so intricate, you'll make it into this just the down parts are so bad and the good parts are so good, and these things interlock and interweave so perfectly, and all the concepts and all that. Okay, you can bring yourself back into it by giving too much importance to even that whole experience as it went by. That's what entrainment is. Now, if you're doing drugs or something, it's far easier to fall into that. If you're not, then you're being a good person in general, treating others like you would like to be treated, being kind, not always thinking about your ego self. You're less likely to get touched by that energy. out of the mouth are constantly only informed by that, or that the motions you're doing in the life are only informed by that energy. It's not saying that. It's saying that when you're doing something that is sort of towards exiting out of that, there are things in place that push a few buttons, and then you feel some things inside, and then some other things happen. That's kind of how it works. But it's not all bad. Like, the entrainment system is not like just screaming horror. It's not. Even when I was in it, it wasn't. It's not 100% pure evil. It's not good, like not fun for the most part. But taking on a wider sense of being rather than just one linear timeline, it's not all bad. And again, the matter systems have to come into dissolution at some point. They have to have dissolution, resolution, integration of the spirit elements, integration of soul fragments that went screaming off into wherever. All that has to happen anyway. And again, any idea that you can speak of is something that's within this. And what you are is the looker, the watcher of everything. Still untouched by it. But at the same time, it's all paradox. So you're like, yeah, you're all of it too, and you're the matter and all that stuff too. And mental, the mind is just going back and forth, you know, like the Pong game, or back and back and back and back and back and back, like that. The idea is to become quiet and to become still. Keep your stuff quiet. Keep your stuff that's inside quiet. And it does not mean that you stop living. It does not mean that everything around you disappears and there's only whiteness or only dark, whichever you like. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden nobody exists and nothing is happening. It doesn't mean that. It means that that state of pureness is what you hold as your consciousness anchor. So even when, say, all of your internal things have been hooked somehow by maybe an entrainment system, and the worst thing is happening, if you can hold on to the memory or the knowledge that the pure state is yours, that's your preference, then the things that are outside of your knowledge that peter off into infinity will come and help you not fall into the thing. The conceptual mind is not so important. The worded mind is not so important. The physical is not so important. Future and past, coming and going, not so important. Find something else. Find if there is something that's important.